Talks with Tom Schmitz on a Wednesday morning. I am now pleased to go out to the phone lines and put all the blame on this guy. For anybody out there in the listening area that, doesn't like that I'm back on the radio or doesn't think that I belong in radio or doesn't really understand how a guy like me could ever get a chance to be in radio, well, here's the guy to blame, folks. Brady Ackerman, the newly named head coach at Bellevue for the Bellevue Rattlers. He's the reason I'm a radio guy. Coach, good morning.
Well, you had the work ethic, and good morning to you. And I know you're going to do a great job on the morning. And it took a while for me to find where I needed to be, but God has placed me at Bellevue, and I'm so excited to be head coach there. And I can't wait to get to work after the start of the new year, although we've already started working. And good to be on with you. And I do know this: I've kept a close eye on OCA from afar, and I appreciate what they do for local high school games and broadcasts and so forth. So it's awesome to have that in the community, and we look forward to hopefully getting y'all out to a game this year.
Galen and those guys, John Thornton and those guys, they do a good job with what they do on the radio with the Friday night football games that they put on the radio. Coach, you got a new job now. You're back in our area. You're back home. You're kind of like the coach up the road there in Gainesville. He came back to the University of Florida to try to instill a winning program back at the University of Florida, which he's done very effectively. Of course, talking about Coach Dan Mullen. Now you're coming back home to the Ocala, Marion County area. You're taking over the Bellevue Rattler football program, which, by the way, is a program faced with some adversity right now. What's when you got to campus and all? What was one of the first things that you saw needed to be addressed right away?
Well, first of all, I know there hasn't been a lot of success, so we're going to start in the weight room. And that having played college football, it starts in the weight room with accountability and motivation and proper lifting and doing those types of things in the off season. That's our first goal. But when I got to campus, I've been there, but I've never been all the way through it. And I was very impressed with not only the size, but the facilities that we have. I think the leadership we have at Bellevue is as good to work with as any in the state of Florida, with Principal Guest and AD Small. That was a big reason why I took the interview. I had relationships with them, but I knew what they were about. And when we took the interview and came down here and talked with them, I just knew it was the right fit for me. So, again, where it starts. It starts in the weight room, and then accountability. Our goal right away, Tom, is to see how many guys we can get above the line. I don't know where that line is right now, but once we get a team meeting and we figure out, where that is, the more guys we get above the line, the better chance we got to turn this around sooner than later. A school that has its third Marion County legend now as a head coach. It had Philip Yancey, then John Brantley, and now Marion County's, Marion County legendary football coach Brady Ackerman. I remember when back in the day when you would help Rick Grow with the Pee Wee Packers. I remember way back in the day. Yeah, that was good. I could never let him. He would never let me call plays. He always, But that's when my son was playing there. And you mentioned I'm not a legendary coach. Those guys are the state championship coaches and put guys in the NFL. And we hope that over time that we're able to do that at Bellevue as well with our staff and our program. But it's interesting. You say coming home, and a lot of people think, well, aren't you from Jacksonville? That's your home. But when I was going through the process, the interview, I said, I've spent over a third of my life in Ocala, raised 3 children. Obviously, we work together. I've done radio. I work with the Gators. I coached high school over at Forest as a volunteer for Coach Austin, which was an awesome experience for me. And, when it all came said and done, the next stop, I hope, Tom, is down there at the Nancy Lopez Grill with you after I take some money off of you playing 18 and send you back over there to be the Ranger or the starter, and I'm going to go home and relax because I'd really like to build this thing the right way and be there for a long time, but it's going to take a lot of work.
The one advantage you have in Bellevue that a lot of people may not be aware of because they only think about high school sports, Bellevue has a very rich tradition of football all the way from youth football to the Pee Wee and Mighty Mites. People think, oh, it's MCYFL. No, Bellevue has a Pop Warner organization down there that does a very good job at bringing those kids along. And you have parents that are very in tune to football. There's a lot of people that they played football. The dads of these kids played football at Bellevue. There's a lot of tradition and rich history in the community and a desire to succeed at the high school level.
Well, yeah, and obviously Coach Hall started the high school program in '94, and some people are telling me, you're coming to a program that hasn't had any success. Are you crazy? And I said, well, Coach Hall came out of retirement, and he had won back-to-back state titles at Forest, and I'm sure he got 2 or 3 phone calls saying, you don't want to do this, you don't want to start up a new program, and he took them to the Final Four. So, that would be as legendary coach as you get is Brett Hall at Bellevue. But it's a unique community. I'm very familiar with it because my in-laws live there. I have family that lives there. And I've probably spent every weekend for 16 years in the summer driving through it or going down there and taking the kids to, their grandpa's pool and that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to be involved in the community. I'm excited to get these people excited about football again, and it's a unique place because it has the pull of a big Ocala, which is a nice sized town with good talent, and good community business leaders and people. That great place to raise a family, but it's small enough in Bellevue where we've got our own people that we can call upon. And one of the things that I thought was interesting is we got a lot of guys in Bellevue that played for that team that Coach Hall took to the Final Four, and they've got kids coming up through the middle schools and the programs and the Pop Warner leagues. They're at that age now where they're settling back in, and I'm going to go to them first because to me, the family is the most important part in Bellevue. It's a family atmosphere. Everybody talks about community, but we have a family in Bellevue, and I think once we can get people excited, get them on board, show them what we're doing, the support's going to be there. There's no question about that. It's our job to just go out and work hard and put a product out there that they can be excited about.
When you talk about getting kids above the line, though, Bellevue's historically over the past 6, 7, 8 years had a low turnout of kids that show up to come out for the football program. I think one year, Coach Yancey, about 6, 7 years ago, only had like 28, 29 guys that he dressed out for varsity football. How do you address a situation like that where you have to get more kids involved?
You got to, part of being the head coach in high school nowadays is player development and player retention. Okay, that's a big thing. And whether people want to talk about the elephant in the room, kids can now go kind of wherever they want to go, be honest with you. So if we got to do a job developing our players, we got to do a job of retaining our players. We got to give them the vision that we see for this program. And the last thing we got to do is got to recruit the hallways. I promise you, the first day of school, I'm going to walk the hallways and find 3 or 4 kids that just haven't come out for whatever reason. And how that works, Tom. And, we got to give kids something to be excited about. We got to recruit the hallways. We got to treat them with respect. We got to get the kids, to getting the kids above the line. You can be the smartest coach in the world. You can have all the X's, O's you want. But a kid won't trust you until he knows you care about him. Okay? So the quicker I can get the kids to know that I care about them and what we're doing is in their best interest, our staff, what we're doing is in the best interest of their player development and high school experience, the more that they will lean over and trust you. And when they trust you, then you start moving guys above the line and gives you a chance to be successful. But again, we've got some young kids coming up. Our 8th grade team was really talented at the MCYFL, and we've got some freshmen that played on the JV last year that I think have a chance to come up through the program. So it's not going to happen overnight, but we're going to give we're going to build it, and we're going to do it the right way through accountability, trust, and love.
You talk about how the retaining of football players, especially with the new rules where you can, like you said, go pretty much anywhere your parents are available to drop you off at. If they want to come in from Bellevue and take you all the way to Vanguard, it's perfectly legal under Florida high school rules now. Could you imagine when you or I'm a little bit older than you, okay, a lot older than you, but still, could you imagine when you at Sandalwood High School in Jacksonville or when I was at Terry Parker in Jacksonville, if you could have went where, because you were talented, you could go anywhere. If we could have went to Lee where Corky Rogers were, or at the time I was at Troy Lamb, I believe, was at Wolfson. If we could have went where Troy Lamb was and not give any regards to the school district we were in, could you imagine how good football in Jacksonville was great. Could you imagine how powerhouse it could have been if kids could have just went to whatever school they wanted to, go get Corky to coach you or Troy Lamb to coach you or something like that?
Yeah. Now, let me just correct you a little bit. I was at the beach. I was Fletcher. You
you were at Fletcher. You weren't at
Sandalwood.
Sandalwood.
Was on the other side.
That's right.
Yeah, Sandalwood was our rival. But I'm a beach rat. But, no, again, the world has evolved. The game has evolved. I mean, did you think we'd ever have a football playoff in the 80s? No. And now they're tired of that. They want to change it in college. So, no, I mean, did you ever think there'd be the type of social media we have? We just have to adapt. And if anything 2020's taught us, you have to adapt and adjust to any situation on the fly. And, looking back at it, no, if we're sitting around being nostalgic, I wouldn't have thought that back in the day. But I also know that your program recruits itself. And then what I mean by that is if you're doing a good job, your kids are going to develop in your program. They're going to have a positive experience, and you're going to retain them. And again, that's just the nature of the game nowadays. And look, you look at the college level. I mean, and I get it at quarterback. If you're not starting at quarterback, you need to go somewhere where you can play because you're never going to get enough reps. But at any other position, I would say, you can keep kids happy. And look at the transfer portal this past week. And then I really feel bad for the seniors this year in high school because if they didn't sign on Wednesday, you look at it, the transfer portal's all jammed up right now. You got kids who can come back next year if they want to, right? Because this year didn't count.
Right.
So high school kids are getting squeezed. We haven't had any high school or college coaches on campus since a year ago. We didn't have spring recruiting last year. I hope we can get kids our coaches on campus this spring, not just for us at Bellevue. I'm not sure what we have just yet, but for the kids in our community. I mean, I'm always rooting for kids in the 3-5-2 to go places. And when I was at Jackson State, I signed a kid out of Vanguard. Coach Farmer's an awesome coach, an awesome person. And I'm so proud of that kid, Kamani Clark, and what he's done in one season, breaking Walter Payton's single-game rushing record at Jackson State. And I tried to get more kids out of Ocala. But, when you get into the college level, other position coaches have their egos that need to be stroked. And my defensive end from North Marion was clearly better than the kid we signed in Mississippi, but it was just the way that it worked out. I mean, I couldn't bring him. So, that was frustrating. But I tried to get as many Florida kids up there as I could because that's really the reason Alcorn was so good. They had half their roster was Florida kids. So, but I'm proud of what Ocala does in football. All the programs really are on the upswing. It's going to be a great challenge for us at Bellevue, but we have the support of the administration. I know we're going to have the support of the community, and we just need to get the players on board. 3 high school football teams from Marion County made the Final Four this year in the high school football playoffs. Let me ask you this question, because this is one that you're going to have to deal with. What is some of your scheduling issues? What are some scheduling issues you're going to have, and who are you going to look to play your first year? Well, I can tell you this. We're going to honor the commitments that Coach Martin had already put in place. We had 3 games. I think we opened with Umatilla. I think we played Bell, which is a tough place to play if you've ever been over to Bell. Tom, you've probably been to every high school stadium, so you know how tough that can be. And then I think we have Bronson as well. But that was like an end of the game. The problem is right now, this is the only thing that's frustrating. If you're a guy who likes to just, how I am. I like to stay ahead of things. I'm a taskmaster. I want to get things done. And I can't do anything until they do the realignment and let us know what the district is. So I have to keep weeks open until we figure out locally who's in our district, who we're going to play, and then we'll go from there. But, again, we're going to put a schedule together that'll have 5 home games so our Rattler fans can come out and enjoy the Air Raid Rattlers this year. And we're going to go out there and play whoever the district tells us we have to play. But it's you're right, though. Ocala's got some really good football. It really has been trending upwards the last several years. And Coach Williams doing a great job over at Forest. You know, my son's a junior over there. He doesn't play football, but I told Coach Williams when I got the job, I said, I got Julian Edelman for you over there in 11th grade if you want to sign him up. Nah, he's not Julian, but honestly, though, he's done a good job over there. Farmer always does a great job. The guy at Dunellen is terrific.
Price Harris does a great job out of Dunellen.
Steve's doing a great job, and I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Johnny, because Johnny's probably does as good a job as anybody year in and year out at Trinity. So, I mean, we've got some good programs in Ocala. I mean, this is awesome, and some great coaches. I think this is as good as it's been since I've been in Ocala, going back to 2001, where this many programs were this good and competitive.
Somebody asked me when they heard you had taken over that you had been named the head football coach. One guy asked me, said, so how long before the coach calls you to come help? I go, look, if you can't grab him by the face mask, say bad words to him and kick him in the rear end, I'm probably not the guy. So I didn't get the phone call, but the begging question is, have you called a guy that could be your kicking coach? Has Oil Can got a soccer call about kicking?
Well, I tell you, Oil Can is a guy he's made a very good career for himself as well, and I'm very proud of him and what he's doing down in Orlando and so forth. But he's in a different tax bracket now. We can't get him. You know, we can't hire him, but we'd love to have him come by and teach our kickers how to kick, but we don't want him snapping. If you remember, when we played 7-on-7 football, he was a mess out there. We played flag football.
Not good.
No, he was not athletic. I mean, he can run and kick, but that's about it. He catches like he has 2 salad forks in his hand, and so we'll let him stay down in Orlando and do what he does down there. But, yeah, a lot of great memories in Ocala. There's no question. And, you know, the thing of it is now is you can –
Did we lose?
I mean,
Coach, I think we're losing you. Yeah, sounds
like we're getting a bad connection, aren't we? But I'm excited. There we are. I found a good spot to stand in. How about that?
Well, in this day and age of social media and all, you need a good SID. Is there any rumor that you've reached out to Uncle Buddy to be your SID?
Buddy's always going to support me, but Buddy's also a community guy. He's going to support Johnny and Farmer and all the other guys too, because Buddy's a politician. But it's going to be awesome to be back in town with him. And as soon as we get this COVID thing under control and get out and have dinner in the community instead of having to sit in his backyard and drink coffee, I'm looking forward to it. He's been a great friend through this whole process. Him and his wife, they're just an awesome family, and I'm looking forward to having lunch with Buddy as soon as we can get out in the community and do it that way. But if not, we'll go sit in his backyard and have some coffee.
Well, I've done that numerous times. Hey, before I let you go, Coach, just remember, you got a good restaurant there that Rondo runs over there in the Bellevue area, and don't ever fall asleep on Tony at Bellevue Pizza. Boy, I tell you what, there's some good food over there where you're at now.
There is, and let me tell you something now. You know my past. I love Chicken Time now. I'm walking to Chicken Time a little bit too as well. So there's plenty of good places to eat in Bellevue, and I plan to go through all of them in the first month and meet the community and meet people and just introduce myself to as many people as I can in January.
I love chicken just as much as the next guy, but nothing could beat the old Maryland fried chicken right there on Beach Boulevard in Jacksonville.
Coach, Chicken Time is a Puerto Rican Cuban restaurant. Okay, so you know my background. I got to get a little rice and beans, a little Cuban sandwich. I'm going to dip in there. I've been going there since 2001.
Yeah,
so
Coach,
we got to get you over there and get you. You got to get some more culture, Tom.
Coach, I still miss the old Maryland fried chicken on Beach Boulevard. I'm just telling you.
That was a good place. It was good.
Hey, Brady Ackerman, the new head football coach at the Bellevue Rattlers. Thanks for taking some time out with us, Coach. And, hey, anything I can do for you, anything we can do here at WOCA to help you along. You gave me my start in this as a sales guy at ESPN Radio a lot of years ago with Tom Matchnick and those guys. And then you introduced me to some guy named Buddy who you taught me how to board op for. And then he let me talk one day on the microphone, and I hadn't shut up since. Thanks, Coach.
I appreciate it. I don't know if I lost you or not, or you lost me, but thank you so much. Come see us. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Coach. Brady Ackerman, the new head football coach at the Bellevue Rattlers, they're going to do great things over there. I know Brady's commitment to the game of football. I know his commitment to growing young men into grown men, and that's what a high school football coach does. He takes young boys and molds them into young men, and that's a lost art in high school. And that's what Edwin Farmer does. That's what John Brantley does. That's what all the Price up in Denellen. Every football coach. That's really their modus operandi. It's not so much about coaching the game of football, but it's about taking young boys and turning them into young men. And the process of doing so, and using football as the avenue that does that. And Brady can do that better than, as well, if not better than most of the people I know. He's got two great sons. I've known both his sons since they were small children. It's hard to believe his youngest son's now a junior in high school. I remember when he was 5 years old running around a radio station playing hide and seek for me. But I didn't know we were playing hide and seek, and then he would get mad that I wouldn't come look for him. I had no idea we were playing hide and seek. But all of a sudden, he'd be, you didn't come look for me. 5 years old, having a good time. So, he's an asset to the community. I'm glad to have him back in Marion County. Glad that he got a position at Bellevue High School. By the way, fantastic football coach. Knows the X's and O's of the game. That's what happens when you're a backup running back. You watch a lot of films. I know I was backup linebacker. Brady had the fortunate ability to play at the University of Florida, but he played at the same time some guy named Emmitt Smith played. So, you learn a lot of football by watching people like Emmitt Smith. So Brady's going to do a great job in Bellevue. Give him time, though, folks. It's not going to happen overnight. You heard him say, as a football coach will, this is not going to happen overnight. You got to build a program, and it has not been. There's been an attempt to build programs. The last coaching staff did as good a job as they could possibly do, given the hand they were dealt. But you got to get kids that are interested in playing the game. You can't be effective and play at the level that Bellevue has to play out because of the size of the school when you only get 25, 30 kids that come out to play football. And like Brady said, one of the first things he's going to do as coach is he's going to have to go recruit the hallways. He's going to have to go convince kids in the hallway, hey, you're a big fella. You ever thought about playing football? That happens. If he can get 4 or 5 players from walking the hallways, that's a good start. And I like what he said. He said the first thing you got to do is get them in the weight room. Get them strong, get them ready to play football. And that's where it all starts. It all starts with stamina and strength in the weight room. And Brady knows that. He's going to be a good asset to the Bellevue community, not only as a football coach, but he will do an amazing job at just going out and pumping up the city of Bellevue and the community of Bellevue through the way he talks football and the way he goes out and talks to kids and their parents. He'll get behind it, get behind Coach Ackerman 100% because he's the real deal. He's going to be, and he said he's facing some unique issues with scheduling and everything, but they're going to honor the games that were already agreed to play, that they had already agreed to play. So looks like a good move for Bellevue, and I wish him all the success in the world. But there's no chance that I would ever be a part of his coaching staff because you're not allowed to coach the way I would coach. If you can't grab him by the face mask, say some few particular words to him to get him motivated and give him a kick every now and then in the rear end, that probably football is not for me. So, I'm still the old school guy, I get in your face, get in your grill, and give you the business. So it's probably best I don't coach football anyway. Coming up next, it's Weird News of Nature. We got a bunch of stories of 2020, the weird things that happened in nature. We'll talk about those next, right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
If you ever doubted Congress with a blank check is a bad thing, just look at what's included in the 5,600-page coronavirus relief package and how the goal to help hurting Americans was totally missed.
It really is a disgrace. It's called the COVID relief bill, but it has almost nothing to do with COVID. I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple.
Trump went on to list some of the ridiculous spending that has nothing to do with its goal. Cash for 2 national mall museums, $10 million for gender programs in Pakistan, a $2.5